All right, hello everyone. Welcome to our weekly Eurovision Fam stream. It is I, Lily Loves, joined by our homie over there. Yeah.
Instead of meat, I have articles and interviews for y'all. How are we doing today?
Oh yeah. All about them articles and interviews
Woo!
and a lot of stuff happening over the last week. And a lot of stuff happening in the next couple of days. We are
Mhm.
once again knee deep in a jam-packed situation.
Yeah, like the
Um,
fifth week in a row where we're just like powering right through.
And I remembered to plug my mic in today, so we've got audio. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into this. So we're gonna go ahead and kick it off like we always do with our site articles.
Yeah.
This week we've got a couple for you. The first one being one of Eurovision 101. Our Eurovision 101 series is continuing. Last week we had uploaded the part one video. This week was the part two video on why you should watch Eurovision. Um, Basically, it's like a trailer, a little crash course. If you're someone who's completely new to the contest, you have no idea what's going on, it kind of gives you an idea of what are the benefits of watching the show and what the show is about. And then there'll be another one tomorrow. It's going to be released at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. That's noon Pacific. And that one is going to be how the voting works at Eurovision.
And also, you guys, this is a very good series for if you know about Eurovision, but you don't want to have to explain all like the little nooks and crannies about it to someone who you're
Mhm.
introducing it to, or to someone who's not super familiar with the contest. Yeah, this is a great way to get them briefed on just kind of the nitty-gritty about how everything works.
Yeah, exactly. It's that's basically what the purpose of the series is. So if
Mhm.
you have someone and you're like, I don't know how to explain what the show is and why I like it so much, you can, show this over to them. So, other
Mhm.
than our article for that, we had another article of five Eurovision songs for Valentine's Day. This was written by Elva. She also wrote the accompanying article for the Eurovision 101 series, Eurovision 101 video, and the links to both are in the description box. It's basically about a song for everyone for Valentine's Day, whether you're in a relationship, you're over a relationship, you're trying to get over a relationship. There's a Eurovision song out there for you.
Mhm.
All right, and
And then
now,
following that
oh, do you
up,
want
we have the video interviews that I did with Mr. Frode Vassel from MGP and Farida from MGP. These are some really fun characters, you guys. I suggest go ahead going to the YouTube channel and checking those interviews out and just getting a little bit more personal with them before we head into Saturday, before everything goes down for real for them. So yeah, go ahead and check out the chat that I had with them, and they're excited to hear your feedback.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like honestly, the interviews are great. I thoroughly enjoyed watching them as we were like, getting everything edited and written up, and it
Mhm.
was excellent. So much fun. So those are our site things that we have. So we're
Yep.
gonna go ahead and hop into some national final results because we have three confirmed participants at this point from last week. First, let's talk about Este Lau.
Mhm.
So Este Lau was one. Wow, don't know what word to use there. Won by Stefan with his song "Hope." How do you feel about "Hope"?
It's there. Okay, so a lot of how I feel about it, it isn't like the most spectacular thing I've ever seen for the Eurovision stage. It also isn't the most it's not the riskiest thing I've seen Estonia send, but with that said, it's pleasant, it's performed well. I like Stefan as a vocalist, and I feel like on stage it could be like a pretty rockin' time. But as it currently stands, I do feel like there's a part of the song that flatlines, and it's not even like one like part necessarily that does that. It's just there isn't like that big high risk moment that I normally attribute to a Eurovision entry, but we
Mhm.
have time until that happens, and the song might not even need one of those like quote unquote Eurovision moments by the time we see it on stage. But for the moment, I'm not disappointed. I'd say. How about you?
I mean, there were way worse choices that could have been made in Estonia.
Mhm.
Um, this is a safe choice. I feel like that's the thing I have with Estonia lately is they go safe often. Um, this is very safe, and Stefan is a good performer. He performs the song well. Like you said, the song is very one note. There's not really like a peak or a
Mhm.
valley to it. You know what I mean? It's just all very one note. Um, I like the spaghetti western staging. That was fun.
Yeah.
And now that we know what the stage looks like, I have an idea for what to do with that stage. We'll talk about the stage, what it looks like in a second here. We haven't
Yeah.
talked about the stage yet. We should probably talk about that. But yeah, what the stage looks like is basically there's like these arcs. You know what? Let me just pull up the stage. Hold on, I have it here. So
It
the
looks like
stage
it's
has
from
those.
anime.
Yeah, like the stage has these like arcs, like the sun. The theme is the sun. The theme is the sun within. So it has these arcs, and it looks like it has a little waterfall too. Honestly, with Stefan's song and the theme, like the how it's really westerny, that stage could be used very effectively by the delegation. Like you know how he had like in Estee
Uh,
Lau the two cowboys, put him in the middle, like the tip down, where I'm like point. You can't see my screen right now, but I'm like pointing so people can see what I'm talking about. Like put him down at the tip here and make it the Grand Canyon or something. Like he's in the middle of the Colorado River and the sides of the
okay,
canyon.
you
Yeah,
can
it could be
visualize
really
that.
cute, right? Yeah, like it could be really effective and it suits the theme of the song too.
Okay, well, I mean, like that sounds like I don't know, when you said that, like the thought of Estonia qualifying came to mind just because like that there's that like establishing shot. I feel like that's a very establishing shot for Estonia that could provide to be pretty important. So SD Laul delegation, if you're no yeah, if you're listening right now, you just heard an idea.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that while we say the song doesn't have a wow moment, the staging could. And if they
The stage
shoot that
definitely.
shoot that just right as like an opening shot of this like of the song, it could be really effective. And yeah, I think that could be great. Like putting him kind of and there's like a little walkway as well apart from where the waterfall is, and like
Mhm.
stick him on the little walkway or something. Like there's a lot you can do with this stage with that song, and I hope like the Estonian delegation takes advantage of it because they could get that wow factor via the staging.
Mhm.
I
Typically,
mean,
we can, I'd say, trust Estonia with putting a pretty good amount of effort in to establish that wow factor, like uh, shot. I mean, as of like the recent, like maybe 2 years or so, I wouldn't say that that's so much arguable, but they do have a track record of completely elevating things with the stage visuals. So I do have faith in that.
they elevated Storm with staging, so
Yeah,
they
Storm,
can.
La Forza.
And
Am I gonna say
honestly,
that, Verona?
uh, we don't talk
Goodbye
about
to
Verona.
yesterday. Here we go.
But like honestly, I prefer Hope over Storm. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, me
So
too,
yeah,
definitely.
those are kind of how we're feeling about Estonia. Song is good, Stefan is good. There needs to be some kind of a wow factor, and at this point, I'm thinking that's going to have to come from the staging. Um,
Yeah.
all right, so we're going to go ahead and hop over to Supernova, and the results from Saturday. Uh,
Hmm.
the winners were Siti Zini with "Eat Your Salad." Would you like to share your thoughts?
Yeah. So my note here, I almost don't have thoughts on this, but to be fair, this did right what it set out to do.
Yeah.
It's upbeat, it's fun. If this is your kind of thing, and a good amount of startling, which can typically carry over well for a Eurovision stage, depending on how it's executed. But in my opinion, just kind of like the gut feeling that I have about this song is, despite it being kind of a joke entry, I feel like it's on the path to qualification just looking at everybody else so far, I feel like there is kind of a certain path to qualification for them just because they're the first act of this kind in the lineup so far.
So I hmm, I like the song I think more than other people do. Yeah, it's a little jokey, but it doesn't come off as like a bad. Well, it doesn't come off as a joke that is meant to be rude. It comes
Yeah.
off more as like a loving joke, like something you would say to somebody you're friends with, rather
Mhm.
than someone you dislike. Um, I genuinely, the opening line is shocking. I'll let you know this: the lesbians on TikTok, the vegan lesbians on TikTok, have been using the hell out of it. So that is probably a good sign. I don't know, like since we've seen TikTok, got us some like TikTok. I'm pretty sure is why Arcade did so well in the U.S. on the charts. Not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Um, TikTok, there's like a sound that was used a lot, which is CTA Boini and Shum kind of mashed together. That's also a very popular sound on TikTok. So going off of like that, I think that Latvia does have a good chance of qualifying, just knowing that it's become a meme kind of in that sphere. And as we can see with like music charts and things, what's the Daffy Agagna Magnet song from like 2020? Again, was really popular on TikTok. So we
Oh yeah.
see there's like a track record for if you have something that people want to use on TikTok, you have a track record for something doing well, possibly at Eurovision as well.
I would say that's like a really cool like factor of the last 2 years in Eurovision. It's like TikTok ability. It really is like a pretty deciding factor when it comes to just kind of like how the show is going to end. It's really fascinating to see how much like how quickly that app had like so much of a grasp on the potential of these songs.
Yeah, I'm like looking at the other joke entry that's kind of like in the national final sphere. Oh, not joke, like the other. I think Alicia Michelle had said something along the lines of calling it like a party song. The other
Mhm.
entry I'm seeing that has that potential to be that if it's selected. I haven't seen that used on TikTok at all. I haven't seen anyone outside of the Eurovision sphere talking about that song. Whereas with Eat Your Salad, I've seen that. So I don't know what that necessarily means. I'm predictable. You give me a horn line, I like your song. So it's got a horn line. I like the song. Um, Lyrically, it's very gimmicky with basically being take your canvas bags to the grocery store,
Mhm.
or our song "Vegan" from Vidbir 2020. You know what I mean? But yeah, like it's not bad. I don't hate it. I think that this song does get a lot of unnecessary hate in the fandom,
Mhm.
but when it's on, and I don't dislike it. But I do think that this could, be Latvia's chance to get out of the semis.
Mhm. I agree.
Okay, all right. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to talking about another Baltic country, and that is Lithuania. We had a
Oh, this is
Baltic-filled night last week.
okay.
Yeah, I kind of I organized it like this. I was like, oh, I should add transitions. So
Makes me sad.
we're transitioning to a neighbor. So we're going to be talking about Lithuania, and Pablo Ishnal came to its conclusion, and Monica Liu with Sentimente was selected. And do you want to start with your thoughts on the song?
You guys, like the first time I heard this, I knew that it didn't even need a revamp sonically. And then I
Hmm.
saw it performed and I was like, wait, she doesn't need to change a single thing about the way she's performing. I wanted to say that this is almost like a voila to me, in that this was like delivered so timelessly and effortlessly from just the outright that it was already set to go to Eurovision.
Hmm.
And I agree with the note that you made that you could start talking about in a little bit, but I really think it was an impeccable performance that just got better each and every time. Like I know that I could never be disappointed by any time she's performing this song. It's so perfectly done, and I could see it honestly remaining in my top 10 through the rest of us getting these songs. Like it's just that good to me.
Yeah. So I'm a child of watching too many musicals growing up. Okay, like
Hmm.
100% that's me. It feels like someone took one of the mushrooms from Fantasia when they do the Tchaikovsky suite, and they gave it sentience and cast that mushroom as Sally Bowles in a disco revamp of Cabaret. And I love every second of it. Like I cannot get enough of this. Like honestly, at this point, Lithuania is my winner, which I can't even imagine like telling
Oh yeah.
myself that a few years ago. But like the song is so good, like it draws you in immediately with the way it's like like the instrumental is. When Monica just performs it audibly, like you hear her, like you can see her face when you hear her voice,
Hmm.
and like it's accented perfectly with the musical and the music and the instrumental. And like when she's on stage, I am mesmerized. I cannot take my eyes off of her. Like, just she draws you in completely. And like, if you want to know how I watch it, I watch every national final as it's happening, and I have like a big screen pulled up with every single song or every single show that's happening at once pulled up, and I kind of go in between them as the songs end. And like, if when she started up, I was watching a different performance, and I
Mhm.
stopped and I went to straight to her because like I had to watch her, and like I remember her. It's so great. I love the fact that the video they've uploaded the music video now to YouTube as well. But
Ooh, I'll check it out.
on the Eurovision site, the first one they did was her like winner's reprise, and she's so happy the whole time, and she's like, "Woo, yes! I can't wait to go to,"
Love it. I love
like
how she's just like shouting.
it's so fun. It is so good. It's like she's just so
Take
happy,
your
and it makes
victory,
me
girl.
happy.
Take your
I'm like,
victory.
exactly. Like she's having a great time. I'm having a great time. Love the song. Love the performance. Love the staging. Don't change anything. Like you could just copy paste. I'm in love with this still.
Not a single thing, right?
It's like who? Like, don't change anything. Yes, you've got yourselves a gem here. Like fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, not a bordering country, but we're gonna have to fly over a country that doesn't participate in Eurovision to get to Ukraine. We're talking
Ukraine is not
Vidbir.
giving a headache, you guys.
I don't, you know what, honestly, I don't know what's happening. I just know that, like, I need some kind of background checks to be happening over there.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if we need to get someone's crazy ex girlfriend, somebody's, like, baby's mother who isn't getting child support payments on time or something, or just some woman who's going on a blind date. Like, you need to get someone in there who can go in and dig up stuff on the internet. Like, it shouldn't be, you need to do some kind of background check. Because, like, you give me 5 minutes, like, you give me a name in 5 minutes, I'll tell you if you can go out with that guy or not. Like, that's how I roll, you know? And honestly, with the results we got, Alina Posh, fantastic. I love Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors.
Me
The
too.
issue, I'm happy she won. I'm happy for her that she won. And then the issue is that you broke the law, honey. You plagiarized documents to enter a section of the country that's under dispute, and is very strict about people coming and going.
Yeah.
I
So yeah,
it, it, it
that was
tarnishes
like
it.
that was a foul, and unfortunately, with that kind of like series of events, we don't have Shadows of Forgotten Ancestors in Eurovision. I mean, like whether or not we have like a confirmed actor, if it's going to be a Vidbir act later on, we still don't get Alina Pasha's song in Eurovision, which is devastating, honestly, because I seriously think this was one of like the songs that it could have been like Ukraine's like hallmark artistic kind of entries because of the spoken word element, because of the fact that
Oh.
it was almost like a harkening back to like 1944 storytelling. It's a shame that we lost this song, and it's a shame that we lost Alina as a performer in it.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where I enjoy her music. Like outside of the shoes
Mhm.
with beer, I know who Elena Pasha is. I've listened
Yeah.
to her work, and she's a great performer, and she's a great singer. And the song we got was beautiful. Like honestly, the spoken word I was kind of iffy about going into the show, and then she brought that. She performed it. The
Mhm.
way like she sold me on it is what I should say. And the way that the staging was done with the eye, like the focus on her eyes, the focus on her face, the focus on the movements of her, that was mesmerizing. It was beautiful. And the issue is like this was a really great artistic piece,
Yeah.
and we don't have it now because it makes me upset because I saw what we could have had, and now you took it away from me. You know what I mean? It's like showing a kid
Mhm.
like something like a brand new toy, and I'm like, oh, you can't have this after all. It just, you know what I mean? And the fact that this happens this is the second time this has happened. It just makes me a little disappointed because it's like Ukraine is one of my favorite Eurovision countries. Um,
Yeah, it
consistently.
it definitely feels like okay. I mean, like 2017, the Yulia Samoilova situation, going into the Maruf situation, going into this one, there just isn't. There just doesn't seem to be like some serious kind of like vetting slash border crossing like process. in like the onboarding process with all of these. So it's just like maybe if you could literally include a clause that like says, "Have I entered Russia like illegally or like through these like contested areas?" That could solve like a whole bunch of those problems. But we don't have that right now, and so we had to lose one of Ukraine's most artistic songs. Like it's really really a shame.
Here's the thing: they have that clause. It's a known law that you can't do that. You have if you're going to enter Crimea, you have to enter Crimea
Mm.
through Ukraine. That's the Yulia Samolova situation. If she had gone to Crimea through Ukraine first, we wouldn't have had an issue in 2017 with her participating.
Hmm.
So don't people can go like, oh, like this shows that the Ukrainian delegation is sticking to that law as well when it comes to their own artists. They're not having a double standard there. And, I don't know if she entered Crimea through Ukraine or if she just forged the paperwork. I don't know what that whole thing is. But like we're forging paperwork, guys. Like I don't know if anyone like who's watching this doesn't know this, but there's certain countries you have to have a visa to go visit. Um, like I know Russia, for example, if you're going to Russia for whatever reason, you need a visa from the Russian government. I think like one or two countries you don't have to have a visa from. But I know if you're like from the States, you have to have a visa to get into Russia.
Yeah.
And it's always been like this. It's been like this at least since the mid 2000s when I first started like looking into international travel and things like that. So I don't know if it's like she didn't want to wait. I don't know if it's like to get into Crimea you have to have a visa and she didn't want to wait for the visa or what else there, but it's just really disappointing.
Yeah.
So at this point we don't know what's happening with Ukraine. We just know
We
that
might have it.
Kalush Orchestra has been offered to go. If that happens, I still think Stefania is an absolute banger, so I'm not upset with that
Yeah.
one. But it's just one of those things where I'm more disappointed with the delegation, and I also know as well when it comes to Vidbir, the um the station that does Vidbir and chooses the acts for Vidbir is not the Ukrainian delegation. They do it differently there. So like how when it comes to a national final, you go, oh, it's the delegation that chooses the song competing. It's not the same thing in Vidbir. I don't know if we need to figure out how to get around that so we're not running into these situations. But yeah,
I mean, clearly we don't have a way to get around that right now. So
yeah. And also just one more thing concerning Vidbir. I am so tired of your terrible Jamala jokes. If you are still making those jokes 3 years later, get a better
oh
sense of humor, please and thank you.
my God.
I just want to get that off my chest because if that's the peak of your joking, you have a terrible sense of humor and you'll never be a comedian. And I love to watch comedians bomb. That is one of my favorite pastimes. I'll go to a comedy club and laugh so hard because someone's jokes aren't landing because that's funny to me. But no, you guys, it's just I'm deadpan, dead faced, not funny. Like you're not funny, you're not clever, you're just recycling the same crap for the last 3 years, and I'm tired of it. I'm absolutely tired of it. Okay, like I just need to say that, and I'm done.
Thank you.
So I can't drop my mic because it's attached to a stand. I'll drop my pen. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to talking about another. I spoke of my love of comedians bombing on stage. We're gonna talk about San Marino. Um,
I haven't
I
seen San
still
Marino yet, so yeah, just tell me all about it.
Okay, so basically, if you haven't been enjoying San Marino, I beg you to find the VODs. They are so entertaining. Like, I just basically, it is a bunch of people performing on a small stage. It looks like auditions for the local play, like the local musical. And they're coming in and performing cover songs, and you don't know who's in, you don't know who's out until their name gets called at the end. And like, there's 2 rounds for each show where they have to sing a song. So you don't know if anyone gets to the next round until they don't show up. Like if they don't show up, okay, I guess they're out. They're out of the contest. So that's been happening for the last week. On Wednesday, it was all San Marinese artists. And these are your emerging acts. These are like people who aren't famous, but at the same time, Elisa Mraz was in there, or I'm sorry, Ellis Mraz was competing. She's out. She got out last night after the second
Being
chance.
because of
Huh?
some drama,
I
right?
don't. I don't know. I don't watch the drama. I just basically I that's kind of what it is. It's like I don't follow Eurovision drama because I don't need that in my life.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm not sure what that was, but I just know she is out. And then tonight, all the newcomers who went through the rounds for international newcomers, and then the San Marinese newcomers, and then the second chance round from yesterday. Tonight or today, they're going to be competing to see what nine of them are going on to the big artist contest. We don't have any of the songs at all. Like at this point, they're just still singing cover songs. So I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but I'm looking forward to it. Um, so the newcomer artists that are left are Aaron Sipley, Alicia Labate, Camille Cabarelta, Elena and Francesco Faggi, Frio, Garin and Duan, Glada Pintori, Julia Vitri, Katrin Rosell, Kumi Watanabe, Kurt Kasser, Lorenza. Oh my gosh, this last name is Richiki Lioli. Richiki
Rocchioli, I think.
Lioli. Yeah. Maria Chiara Leone, Mate, Raimato, Cataldo, Sebastian Schmidt, and then finally Vina Rose. Or Vina Rose, I'm not sure. So those are the 16 acts that are competing for 9 slots for tomorrow's contest against the big artist. And um, this was some drama last week. But the big artists that are competing are Christina Ramos. I know she's done, I think, Spain's Got Talent and a couple of other things.
Nice.
Francesco Matt, Burek Yetir, and Alessandra Cole. They're singing like a duet. Valerio Stanu, um, then Blind, Ivana Spagna, Matteo Fastini, then Tony Ciccioli, Des, Descheros, and Alberto Fortes. Like they're like a trio.
Mm.
And then there's another trio of Fabri and Labuise featuring Miodio. And finally, Achille Lauro is going to be the last of the newcomer of the big artists tomorrow.
Oh
And
God.
that one's the I
God.
know. I don't know. I don't
What?
know. It because there was like people because we're in San Remo. I was like, oh, somebody from San Remo is gonna go compete in San Marino's national final, guys. Who's it gonna
More
be?
gonna be confused. But you know what? We get another Aquila Lauro song. It's a different song this time from what I just read. So
Yeah,
that's
I don't.
exciting. I love
I
the
he
fact that he
dropped.
literally just took the train from San Remo to San Marino and was like, "Yes, time to try
I
again."
I don't know what is happening. I'm so confused. He looks confused. I feel like everyone is confused. I've listened to his album he had that came out like he released a new album right after San Remo. Like I
Ooh.
that's how you do it. Okay, this is another side tangent thing. Yeah, we've got time for this. If you are competing in a national final or at Eurovision and you can line it up with your team, try to release a song or album right after the contest. Because within a
Mm.
week of San Remo, he had released an album. And then
That's a
people
smart decision, just like overall. Yeah.
yeah, like and though with San Remo, people really like everyone releases a music video when San Remo starts because that's when they can like release their songs. But yeah, release a
Mhm.
music video because you've released music videos to get up to an album, like or release singles up to an album. Release an album too if you can, or an extended play. Ruta Loop from Lithuania this year. She released an EP right after after the national final.
Mhm. With the
It helps.
Lithuanian version of "Call Me from the Cold," that I read.
It's better than the English version.
Ooh,
But I personally always feel that way. Like I'm
mm.
always like native language songs just sound better to me.
They are
Yeah,
superior.
like you're like no, she like yeah, if you can release something right after the national final, or if you go to Eurovision, you can release something right after Eurovision. I know, excuse me, that both national finals and Eurovision take up a lot of time. But I also know that when you are making music, you can set on an album for a while. You can set on a single for a while before you let it go out. So like I just that to me is what I would kind of do if I was in that position.
Yeah.
Because then if you win or people are looking at you, they now have something new to look at when it comes to you and your music. So I think that's a
Mhm.
good move. So I don't have. I know you don't. You haven't been watching San Marino. I have, and I'm looking forward to 4 o'clock my time when it kicks off again because I have been having so much fun watching it. Like it's been
No, I'm
such a
definitely gonna
joy.
go back to rewatching these performances because I didn't even see like a recap or nothing. So by the time I have like a new bottle of wine, I'm gonna go ahead and just kick it back and watch these guys blow me away.
It's so good. It is so good. And there's like, I'm sorry, I can't remember his last name. There's this guy Lucas who gets up there and sings like I want to say he sings a Nine Inch Nails cover. Fantastic. I loved him. Why was he kicked out? He should be in that final tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned. Like I've been having a ball. So highly recommend watching that. We're gonna go ahead now and move over to Malta. And MESC. Yesterday there was 20. I'm not gonna list everybody because we don't even know who's going on to the final tomorrow yet. But 22 acts competed. Actually, I'll just go ahead and name them anyway. 22 acts competed at MESC's semifinal. Which why are you doing a semifinal with 22 acts and then a final with 16? Why not
I
just make
hate
it
it
a
so
final
much.
of
It's such an
16
ugly
songs?
system. It's so
It
bad.
honestly, and like Romania is doing a similar kind of situation too. I'll just talk about Romania real quick. It's one semi where all the judges, it was all judge like jury based who went to the final. The final's in 2 weeks, but like, what's the point? I mean, I don't. It's a semi-final. There should be two. Semi means like half, and your halves are the two hemispheres, or the two halves of the whole. What's the
But they
what?
decided no, Eurovision 2005 tings. And okay.
Oh my god, I
Why?
hated when there was only one semi at Eurovision. It exactly. It's like that semi-final where like the semi-final was twice as long as the actual final. Like it's too much for me. But yeah, the 22 acts that competed were Nicole Hammett with Lover's Heart, Jessica Gretsch with Aphrodisiac, Janice Mignon with Army, Denise with Boy, Matt Black with Come Around, Baklava featuring Nicole with Electric Indigo, Sarah Bonici with Heaven, Richard Edwards with Hey Little, Norbert with How Special Are You, Derek with I should have wrote down how to pronounce this too. Nicole as Party with Into the Fire, Jessica with Kaleidoscope, Mariana Conte with Look What You've Done Now, Emma Muscat with Out of Sight, Raquel with Over You, Giada with Revelation, Francesca with Rise, Aiden with Ritmu, Mark Anthony Bartotto with Serenity, and Yamagi with Shame, Malcolm Pisani with We Came for Love, and Rachel Lowell rounded off with White Doves. Those are the 22 songs that competed. I don't know
Yeah.
which states. We don't know which 16 have gone on to the final. We'll find that out tonight. And
Yep.
tonight is like a special night where they're going to be just kind of going over the history of Malta at Eurovision. They've been competing for 50 years now.
Yes,
I can do
whereabouts,
math.
yeah.
Yeah, they started in 1971, so 51 years. And they haven't gotten a win yet, so it's going to be highlighting all the acts from the last 50 years of the contest for Malta. And I think that's, it's nice to pay tribute, but,
Mhm.
yeah. So, you want to go ahead and talk about, leading into tomorrow, who your top three acts are?
Yeah, but really quickly before my third
I'm
place,
sorry.
out of these 22 acts, I feel like they spent overall $21 on choreography. Like the absolute lack of good choreography happening just throughout was just sending me absolutely. Like it was hilarious, it was tragic, it was everything I wanted and not at the same time. But going
You know
into
what they spend that money on instead? Foundation.
makeup, they spent it on makeup.
They spend it all on foundation. So much.
And not even
uh,
matching foundation, not even like
like
what
when
was
Destiny showed
any
up for
of the
10 seconds, and I'm like, girl, that is not your. You look casket ready. What did they do to you? What did they do to you?
it's like that chalky white light that I just hate that makes everything look terrible and greasy. Like, no.
The lighting combined with the foundation, it's like, guys,
It's
this
like
is dirty. Let's get
sometimes
a beauty
sometimes it's
blender.
not a wonder that like 51 years without a victory. Sometimes it's not like an absolutely far-fetched thing to contend with mentally. But like this was I mean, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy watching this show though.
Okay. Yeah, I had a
Uh-huh.
time. I
Yeah,
had a
and
time.
it's actually funny because you and I have the same third place when it comes to this
Yeah.
show. So third place for us was Denise's Boy. I thought this was an absolute cluster F of just improvisation almost. It almost felt improvised, but I loved it. Like the lyrics were just like so aggressive, and she was so like uh, I don't know, like Kristen Wiig and Bridesmaids energy. Like it was just I don't even know how to describe it. I just had a good time.
I did too. Like, there's something about the song performance came very much off like I'm in my house and I'm gonna like put on a show for myself. I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, but like sometimes I'll just like grab like usually a broom or like a hairbrush or something like but it had that energy to it and I loved every second of it. And she sounded great.
Like
That's the
I'm
thing,
in
is
the
like
bathroom.
she sounded great. Honestly, the makeup looked fine on her too. Like she
Oh yeah,
probably had the least shocking makeup of the night. Styling was excellent. Her little bodysuit with like the kind of mesh that was very sexy.
very very.
I guess Malta loves fringe because there was some fringe happening there. Yeah, like I think that Denise sold it. Like I wasn't big on the song off the lyric video, but live she brought it, and I picked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Natural
it's,
performer, natural
yeah,
performer,
she's great.
definitely.
She's great.
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, I have no faults at all. It was just like you said, it was a little improvised feeling, but it worked. She made it
It
work.
did.
Yeah. So the next one we have is our number twos. Who was your number two?
So my second place was Nicole Aspardi with the song "Into the Fire." This song, like both visually and sonically, kind of felt like it was written in 2008. With 2012 as like the
Mm,
final year that would be kind of like considered fresh. But with that said, I like it still.
keep talking.
It's
I can't hear you because my headphones just died. But please keep talking because everyone else can hear you still.
all right. Yeah. So it feels like circa 2008 to 2012, but it's not like abrasively so. It's not the most interesting thing I've ever heard, and it's not like very inventive, I would say, but it's pleasurable, and she performs it. Wish that she didn't perform it as safely as we saw it because there were a bunch of moments where I feel like she could have taken like a risk or like done something with the choreography and that just didn't happen. But I do think that it is a fun spectacle and it's a pretty good song to listen to too. Your second place?
I'm still getting my audio fixed. I cannot hear you. I'm gonna guess and tell me to take it away.
Just gonna switch over.
Okay.
Oh, I can hear now. I can hear now. We're good. Sorry about that. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, my headphones just died without warning. They usually tell me like, "Oh, low battery." They just died. So yeah, my number two, I think that's what you're kind of motioning to me to say, is Aiden with Ritmu. I think that this was performed well. It's a Maltese. It gets extra points for that for me. I don't get why we're having Tropical House, but with like cowboy staging. But that happened. Um,
Yeah.
like I said, I think Malta just likes Fringe a lot lately. And yeah, I think that was like the song that kind of opened the show, and it was a fantastic opener. It really elevated the song because again, it's one that was not on my radar going off the studio cuts. So yeah, I think that there was a disconnect with the staging, but at the same time, it was an enjoyable tune there.
Sweet.
All right, and number one, I'll say my number one first. I had Mariana Conte with "Look at What You've Done Now." She was great. Like I could, like I keep repeating this, but not on my radar going into it with the audio cuts. She sounded great. She looked great. She sold that song. Like she made me want to go find someone's son to get in a bad relationship with just so I could dump him and sing this song at him. Like that's the power that I was getting from her, and I love it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, like that I love when songs make me want to like make bad decisions. And how about you? What was your number one?
My number one was actually my number one coming into the contest, funnily enough. So that was Emma Muscat's song "Out of Sight." I thought vocally she performed it very well. I wasn't super in love with the staging, but I loved the shimmer that she was wearing. I would have liked maybe just like a tad more choreography that wasn't her just like walking up and down the stage, kind of like singing it at the audience. But then again, Eurovision has the potential to change that with like elements of like different choreography and camera work if she were to make it, but it was a flawless vocal replication of the studio cut, and that's what I like really loved most about it. And also it's my favorite song of the selection too, so that was really reassuring.
That's the thing is with Malta is you're going in and getting a good vocal. There was one
Yeah.
vocal that wasn't great last night, but other than that, like you're gonna get killer vocals when you go to Malta. And so like MASC is like one of those things where Malta has the talent when it comes to singers. It's just the songwriting sometimes. You're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if maybe going with a smaller national final. I mean, usually they do two semis and then a final. Maybe like just a final. And change up that budget so that 90% of it is not going to foundation, and you can really make something shine. So yeah. So for Malta, we're going to head over to another country along the Mediterranean coast, Croatia. So we're going to be talking about Dora. What am I doing? Sorry. We're going to be talking about Dora now, and the songs competing in Dora are Brmada with "Here for Love," Elis Lovic. Oh, I'm sorry, Lorich. Let me move this so I can see better. All right, I can see better. Sorry, Elis Lorich with "No War," Ella Orshakovic with "If You Walk Away," Eric Vodovich with "I Found You," Jessa with "My Next Mistake," Marco Boschnak with "Moli Zanas," Mia Dimoshevich with "Guilty Pleasure." Then we have Mila Nagovicic with "Forgive Me," parentheses, "Oprosti." Mila Elagovic with Lubav. Rocco Vushkovic with "Malokasnie." Tia with "Voli me do neba." Tina Volkov with "Hideout." Toma with "In the Darkness," and then finally Jadka Kovacic with "Stay on the Bright Side." All right, do you want to go ahead and talk about who your personal faves were?
Yeah, so starting from my third place, I liked Bernarda's "Here for Love." This might be my favorite Bernarda song out of all of her Dora entries, and I don't think it's necessarily because this one it's like struttier, has kind of like a more loungy pop sound. I think it's just because I didn't like her past entries like at all. So going into this one, it is something that like I wouldn't say it's like Eurovision competitive from the pattern that I know things, but it's very listenable and it's chill. I really like it.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree. I think it's really good. I think, like, if I had... She was, like, number 4 or 5, kind of, like, when I was organizing things on my end. I'm looking here, and it looks like our number 3s are the only two that we don't share in common here.
Yeah.
So, my number 3 was Jessa with "My Next Mistake." It's really, like, kind of jazzy in a way. And that appeals to me. Like, if you give me a song that's a little jazzy, I'm like, yeah. Maybe I should just become a lounge, like, promoter or something. because this is so up my alley. Like, it's very much one of those songs that I felt drawn to. You know, even just listening at snippets and then going back and like looking at things in more depth. Yeah, like that's my number 3 there. Our number 1 and 2 are just in different order. So, do you want to talk about? We'll talk about your number. Well, let's talk about your number 1 and my number 2, kind of at the same time. Which is, do you want to say who it was?
Yeah, this was Tia Voli me do neba. So this is like modern Croatian pop done well. Like I don't even really know what else I could say about that. Tia is a very like practiced pop singer in Croatia, and she uses like a nice amount of ethnic traditional elements as well, like to be incorporated. This is the kind of song that I think if it's brought to the Eurovision stage, it would be very crowd engaging, and I just love it. It's a grower for me too.
Oh yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. Like that's, you know, she's your number 1, she's my number 2. Everything you said, I agree with 100%. It's just I prefer my number 1 and your number 2 more.
Which I mean I understand why like she's even in this caliber. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those things where it's like, oh, what can we really disagree on? It's like it's just okay. This one I like a little more. This one you like a little more. You know. But my number 1 and your number 2 is Mia Nogovic with "Forgive Me." Just yeah. Again, it's great.
It's great. I mean, like there's an element of an almost like Andrew Lloyd Webberness about it. Very like dramatic symphonic orchestral ballad, even like a San Remo type of feeling to it. But I think it's so well done, and it's also my favorite song of hers in Dora as well.
Yeah, like again, couldn't agree more. I'm sorry, I'm like looking at the clock. We're like, 14 minutes to go.
Oh no, yeah. I was just looking at that too.
It's like, oh no, like so. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to EMA. I'm just gonna say the results, and then we'll talk about from the semi, and then we'll talk about everyone together. So in semifinal 2, our qualifiers were, you know what? Let's just talk about who's competing. I think that would be easier. So who's competing in the final tomorrow is July Jones with Girls Can Do Anything, David Amaro with Shevedno Silepa, Luma with All In, Stella Sofia with Tu Injad. Then there is Batista Cadillac with Mimpravel, Manouche with Sisama, then Gushti featuring Lyra with Nova Romantica, LPS with Disco, Annabelle with Tendency, Be Cool with May, and then Hotman with Sledem. So those are the acts who will be competing to represent Slovenia tomorrow at EMA. Let's talk about our top 3, because I feel like mine is very predictable. So yeah, my number 3 was Batista Cadillac with Mimperville. It's a throwbacky, funky number. Like I like that. You know, at this point I want a throwback, and it's a throwback to the 70s rather than the 80s, because at this point I'm burnt out on 80s throwbacks. Just don't. I'm done with the 80s throwback. Take me back to the 70s. And this song does just that. Exactly. It does just that. It's good. It's solid. When it's on, I enjoy it. I seek it out. I want to listen to it outside of, you know, watching Eurovision stuff. So who is your number 3?
My number 3 is Tendency by Annabelle. This song didn't stand out to me when I was just hearing like a little like demos and snippets, but seeing it performed on stage, it was pleasant. Like I can't even lie. Like when I was watching it, listening to it, I was like, okay, like this is nice. Like this is just like kind of like a good ethereal thing to tune into, and so I was just happy about it. There was nothing really disappointing I could say about the performance as I watched it.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with what you 100% on that. It's just, you know, not my. I think if I had to rank it, it'd probably be like in my top probably 5. The thing is, like, this is a really strong selection that they have in an EMA. Which I wasn't expecting until we got to the live shows, and I'm very pleasantly surprised by that. So my number 2 is Luma with All In. This is on, I can't take my eyes off of it, and I still need to know what that highlighter is being used. Like what highlight is being used, I need to know. I absolutely need to know. But yeah, the song's beautiful, it's mesmerizing, and it's staged so well. And yeah, like it's great. How about you?
So my second place is July Jones' Girls Can Do Anything. This surprised me actually. I didn't think that this would be second place in my ranking, but she just managed to elevate it, and like it does still have that like nice Gwen Stefani feel. It's stompy. It provides a good contrast. So I'm really happy with it as it is.
Yeah, she could be our banger, like our pop banger queen of the year. You know, if she gets selected. And then one we have in common.
Our winner, and this took me by surprise too, because I did not pay any attention to the song, and then I saw it performed, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is it. This is mine.
I already said I like a 70s throwback, so this is going to surprise nobody. Do you want to go ahead and say who took our top?
The song is Redeemed by Hauptmann, and you guys, this is just so like cool, jazzy, smooth, sexy. I described it as like a dark chocolate. It's just so rich and sweet and smooth. Like I don't know, it's just perfect. I love it.
Yeah, all of what you said. It is so good. It's like a throwback to like a soul kind of like 1970s kind of sound.
Yeah.
It's got like a funk. The bass line is fantastic. Like the bass is just great. You said sexy. My notes say this is the kind of music you make babies to.
Yeah,
And
it is.
and like, yeah, this is great. This is like, it's so good. Like, I cannot like narrow down why it's so good, but it's so good, guys. It's so good.
Just listen to it.
Yeah, please. But yeah, if that won, oh, like that would be up there. That would be fighting with Monica for me for that top spot right now.
I completely get that. Like it's so good.
Oh man, maybe I'm like over the 70s. I'm over the 80s, and I'm like throw me straight to the 70s. Yeah. So those are our thoughts about EMA. We're gonna go ahead and move over to Poland, and they are having their national final tomorrow. The competing entries are. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to definitely move this over so I can read it better. Okay, sorry. So the competing entries are gonna be Anina Bryson with Dokad, Maria with Paranoia, Mila with All I Need, Carolina Lizar with Shishta Voda. Their sister, I think it's the Carolina. No, wait, yeah, never mind. Yeah, Carolina Lizar with Shishta Voda. Then Carolina. Did I write the same thing twice? Oh, sorry. Carolina Stanislavich featuring Chica Mora with Mover, Christian Okman with River, Kuba Shizmovsky with Lovesick, Lydia Kopania with How Does It Hurt, then the Shlata sisters with Drogovskazy, and then Unmute with the song Gonie Nijic Dabechbele. Alright, so looking here, we actually share another top song. But do you want to talk about who your number 3 is?
Yeah, so my third place is Why Does It Hurt by Lydia Kopania. It feels safe, but overall it's listenable. I do enjoy it lyrically. It's not terrible. And this is something that I feel like I could listen to as I'm like driving like down some like dark road at night, and it's just like peaceful to me. Like it has just kind of an etherealness to it that I really do enjoy. What's yours?
My number 3 was Unmute's song. Again, I don't know if it can even compete at Eurovision, but I like it. Like I love the concept of having music for people who are unable to hear or have trouble hearing. I think that's great. Like, get the deaf community involved in music. It's not as bassy as I would expect it to be from what when I've spoken to people who are deaf, like what kind of music they like. It tends to be really bassy. And this isn't very bassy. But, like, it's really, like, interesting. And I think it brings, like, an awareness to a community that's often overlooked, you know, not only outside, like, in music, but, like, in society as a whole.
Yeah, definitely. This would be a great way of incorporating them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, like, it's better than that throwaway where every once in a while you get somebody, like, off in a quarter doing sign language, where it just kind of feels, like, tacked on. This makes that the main focus. And I like that. Then we have the Slazatcha sisters. Oh, my number 2. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, you're good.
Was the sorry, I had to clear my throat there, and I didn't want to do it on mic. The Slazatcha sisters with Drogovskazy. I like this. I don't know. It's kind of throwbacky at the same time. It's got like a disco-ish feel to it, and I love that vibe. Who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Paranoia by Daria. This is currently one of the favorites to win. It's nice, strutty pop track, and if you know me, then you know I like that kind of a thing. I don't have anything to like protest against it, and I already know that it could be performed on stage, like with pretty imaginative staging too.
Yeah, I mean, like it, like looking at the lyrical content of the song, you could have a lot of fun with the staging,
Definitely.
staging wise. And honestly, I thought about putting her as my number 3 too, but kind of bumped her down to like 4 or 5. um, so yeah, no, I agree with you. I think it's fantastic. Now, our winner. Do you want to go ahead and say who that was?
Yeah, so our collective winner is Carolina Leeser with Chista Voda. And that song, it's folky. It's like, it's not just folky, and it's not just like stripped back. There's almost like you're like walking through the forest, like element of it. There's like almost like a Yazinki by Judy quality of it, like a witchiness. Like, I don't, it's so hard to describe.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? But I
You
just
know,
love it.
that's exactly what it is. It's like it has this whole vibe to it that I'm into 100%.
Mhm.
Like, I like a folky song. Like, it's like me and my taste. I feel like it's like, oh, give me a folky song, give me like a throwback. One of those two, and I'll be happy. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, it does that whole thing. Like, there's a whole mood to this that is like it transports you. It's not like you're
Yeah.
just listening to something. Like, you're taken away on a trip. And I think that's something that if your music can do that, that's excellent. And for that, I'm going to reward you and put you on as my number 1.
I really hope they do well.
Yeah, same here. Now let's go ahead and we're going to talk about MGP real quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, we're going to talk about MGP. Again, we've got interviews with 4 of the finalists for MGP. I'll put the playlist up in the cards. No, cards is that way. Sorry, I'll put the playlist up in the cards and have a description below as well. But yeah, we're going to just kind of quickly go through MGP. Our competitors are Oda Groderos. God, goodness gracious, I misspelled her name on here. Oda Gundrus with Hammer of Thor. North Kid with Someone. Annalisa Kumoji with Queen Bees. Frida with Dangerous. Sophia Fidalbong with Made of Glass. Frode Vessel with Black Flowers. Christian Inga Brixton with Wonder of the World. Maria Moan with Fly. Subwoofer with Give That Wolf a Banana, and then Elsie Bay with Death of Us. Do you want to go ahead and
Mhm.
kind of go over? Because it's funny because our top 3 are the same but in different order for this song, for this one. So do you
Once
want to just
again, yep.
let's just pick one? You pick one to talk about first.
All right, so I'll start from my third place. So Elsie Bay is The Death of Us. It's just sublime. It's orchestral. This almost feels like a classic Norwegian ballad entry in that like it relies heavily on the strings, but it's also modern too. I just think it's so well done, despite the fact that like Elsie just wrote this out like a songwriting camp. It just feels like all together. And if you took away the other songs in MGP, I would decide that this is like an uncontested winner. Like it just has that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah, she's my winner. She's been my winner,
Mhm.
like sitting up there since week 1, I think, at this point of like
Mhm.
MGP. Like this song is great. Like it's so beautiful. Her voice is gorgeous. I'm drawn in immediately as soon as it begins listening to it. I'm drawn immediately as soon as it begins watching it. Visually, it's there. Audibly, it's there. It's magic for me. Like we spoke about transporting you previously when we were talking about Poland. This doesn't transport me, but it takes me like, I mean, it feels like, makes me feel like I'm kind of sitting back and watching the world. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't. It's so good. It's just so flipping good to me, and I really love it. And I need a ballad right now. And looking at our top 3, I feel like you also need a girly ballad. So yeah, we need a
Definitely.
ballad by a woman at this point, and then we have a good lineup for Eurovision. And
Yep.
Norway can definitely give it to us because let's talk about, I guess, Made of Glass next. That's my number
Yes.
2. That's your number 2. That's the only one we have in common on our listing. Um, yeah, like beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, breathtaking.
Her voice, like absolutely incredible. It's insane. And also this is like kind of like a country pop ballad, which if you know country pop and you know me, this is more so up my alley and it's so well done. Like I just really think that if she decides to come back to MGP, she could have a ticket for the win.
Yeah. Honestly, if it was like a different year, I'd say all of these ladies could go for the win.
Yeah.
And including like, Maria Mon with Flight. Beautiful. Like just
Viking Anthem. So that's my favorite, you guys. Fly. I'm so happy it made it to the final. It took so long to get there, but we're here.
Yeah, 100%. It should be. And that's the thing is, because like Made of Glass and Fly were both in the same semi. Like, I'm so happy that Fly made it to the final because it's deserved. And like everything, like it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Like, can't praise it enough. So we're going over just a little bit here because we got to touch on Melodifestivalen. Just a teensy bit. I don't have much to say about Melodifestivalen. Which is weird.
I can cram
like,
everything I say into a couple of seconds here.
Like,
I feel.
So our qualifiers from Semi 2 were Liamo with Bluffin and John Lundvik with his song. They both are going to direct to the final. If you didn't know that was going to happen before watching Melodifestivalen last week, was this your first time watching Melodifestivalen?
This was, I think, my sixth year watching Melodifestivalen, and my first time seeing it in this format. And let me just say, the two qualifiers from this heat are not surprising at all. Melodifestivalen has more or less decided who qualifies from the heats, and you could see that pattern just by, like, the first time they participate, like, going into it. Like, typically, if someone is DTF in one year, you could see that in, like, a following year. I'm not surprised like that Liamo and John Lundvik have these tickets, but I much prefer John Lundvik's song over Liamo's.
Yeah, I could not agree or disagree more. If it was the Melfest Face Contest, Liamo wins every year. So yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, no, I just wow, like it. Gosh. Here we said we can talk about like Melodifestivalen in a couple of seconds, and all I can think is like I stopped really paying attention to Melodifestivalen about 2 years ago, and that's just I watch it still, but it's like not something I'm excited for anymore. And these results kind of show that. So the next the second chance rounders are Alvaro Estrella with Suave and Tony Sekelius with My Way. I thought, there's the people make a joke about, oh, you can't compete in Melodifestivalen more than 3 years in a row. Apparently you can, and you can sing the same song 3 years in a row and it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways,
MVP 3 years in a row, right?
And went direct to final. No, he went second chance 3 years in a row. Wow. Great. Fascinating.
Same song.
With the same song. Wow. I mean, okay. And then, honestly, you know what? She sang a Schlager song. I feel like she's too young to be singing that style of music personally.
I'm so happy with Schlager, though. I'm so happy.
I love Schlager, but like when I think of Schlager, I think of like a woman in her 30s or 40s. You know what I mean? So like that's the thing is like this song does feel a bit old, for her. But I enjoyed every second of it. It's what you want when you watch Melodifestivalen. It's like I complain about results and everything, but this is what I want when I watch Melodifestivalen, and I'm glad I got it, and that it went on to the second chance round. Just to cut it quickly. Yes. Dress. Okay, I did not like the jacket thing first because I felt like there was some weird because I have an eye for sewing, and I'm like, why are you wearing panniers under a jacket? What is happening? I didn't like the jacket. Once we got the actual dress, loved it. It was so Melfest by numbers, but it's what I want from a Schlager song at Melfest, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. You know what I mean? I do too. Like, let her go to the final. Like, also, love her YouTube channel. Like, watch it. Ooh. Even if you don't speak Swedish, watch her YouTube channel. It's very enjoyable because I don't speak Swedish and I enjoy it. Next, just I want to kind of say really quickly about the two non-qualifiers. Samira looked terrified. Absolutely terrified. Yeah. But I loved it. I liked her song because it's different from Melfest. and the look of
It is.
fear on
It
her
is.
face.
Yeah.
Like, this is like her first time doing something really big. So, like, you could tell that she was nervous, but at the same time, she sold it to me. Like, I
Mhm.
would have put her, through.
There was
If
still a genuineness about it too.
Exactly, exactly. And then Face in the Crowd, love that one
I
too.
liked it. I
I
liked
liked it.
it.
I liked it a lot. It was Skater Boy, but if Skater Boy went harder,
Hmm.
fantastic. I'm so sad we lost it.
They didn't hesitate to make it like punchy, like it was punchy metal, and I like that it was like an all-girl band doing that. Like that's so. It just felt great to witness that.
Exactly. It's so un-Melfest that it's like
Mhm.
these two songs in particular are so not what you expect at Melodifestivalen that I thought maybe they might do better because, like, we're seeing a bit of a shakeup at Melfest, but maybe
Yeah.
that was a fluke. Maybe week one was a fluke at this point, and we're just at the same place we always have been with them. So yeah, that's kind of like last week. Did you have anything else you wanted to say at all about last week before I just skip over to this week?
Oh no, go right ahead.
Okay. Competing artists are Cassiopeia with I Can't Get Enough. Lancelot with This Is Hard to Say, I swear. Lick Lick Sloot.
Hmm.
Then Lisa Miscovy with Lisa Miskovsky with Best to Come. Tribe Friday with Shut Me Up. Faith Kakembo with Freedom. Linda Bingston with Frafactura. And then finally, Anders Baga with Bigger Than the Universe. Every time I
Yep.
see Anders, I always mess. I have a friend from high school.
Hmm.
His name was very Americanly pronounced Anders, and like we had a Norwegian exchange student who never called him that. She was always like, "It's Anders." I'm like, okay, cool. So I always always think of that when it's that name. Sorry, tangent.
Cute.
Yeah, no, that's the person that introduced me to Eurovision too. Fun fact about her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. All I have to say about this heat or semi or whatever we're calling it, can Sweden stop robbing my girl Faith, please?
Please, seriously, no, I mean, like, you guys, this is like a massive issue. Like, Crying Rivers was the song. In 2020, that was the song. It was just so good. Like, what more do you want? It's like, I'm actually angry.
It's probably the song from Melodifestivalen that year I still listen to the most. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, come
And
on.
Freedom, it's gonna be like anthemic, you know? Like, come on, we need her through.
Like, stop robbing her. She's a nurse. She's had a hard, like, last 2 years. Let her
Hmm.
through. Like, please. She's a great performer. And, like, so good. Like,
I'll
so
probably.
good. Yeah. That's basically the only note I have is Sweden, stop, like, robbing my girl Faith. That's my note
Hmm. I'm
for
looking
that.
forward to Cassiopeia and Linda Bangsing, but Faith Kakemba was the one who I'm just like most anticipating. Like, please, 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 like, give us that same moment that we got, or like a similar moment to Crying Rivers.
Yeah, just don't rob her.
Hmm.
Please.
Just don't rob her.
Just don't rob her. So yeah, those are kind of our thoughts going into last week and this week. We went over by just a smidgen, 8 minutes. So I'm gonna make this quick. If you enjoyed it, subscribe. We do this every week at the same time. And our
We have
channel.
like 6 songs being decided tomorrow, I
I
think.
know tomorrow we've got like a lot of songs being chosen. We'll talk in more depth
Hmm.
about those. The season's heating up, y'all. I think at this point we're gonna be tipping over from the edge of like just our top, like having half the songs to at least like more than half of them.
I
And
know.
yeah, I know I'm so excited. So yeah, guys, thank you
Thank you for
so
joining us.
much.
We're gonna see you next week, all right?
All right, and bye. Have a great one, y'all.
Bye, guys.